everyone. So, welcome back to Rebirth a Gift. I am Stacy Benton, and I am the author of this highly anticipated novel, Rebirth a Gift. And just want to welcome you. I thank you so much for listening in and spending your time here today. So, I am just a little bit about me. If this is your first time listening in, is that I am a MBA graduate, an entrepreneur, and author. So my main objective on this channel is to really help you transform, to help you feel motivated, to help you feel inspired as you go through your journey of healing, restoration, taking back your life, eh, taking back your life, as a result of your complex trauma or traumatic events that has happened in your life. So, this is what this channel is about. It's about your restoration. It's about your transformation. It's about you finding the power within yourself to now say that I am ready to heal. I'm ready to tackle this enormous challenge that's before me so that now I can start enjoying life again, so that you can start expressing yourself in new creative ways, so that now you could unleash your most authentic voice, so that now you could become the entrepreneur you always imagined. So now you could become that wife or that husband that you always imagined, that mother, and so forth. So this channel is all about you. It's about helping you through this journey. It's about encouraging you, motivating you, and inspiring so that now you can go through your own transformational experience. So this channel is to support you, is to help you, is to guide you, is to uplift you, to just really help you through this journey. So I also want to encourage you to watch the other videos because it's going to be so inspirational on so many levels, and also help you to be catapulted into the next dimension of your life, that next level that you're seeking for. So one thing that I do on my channel, if you guys know, that I do not edit, for one. So it is raw, real, authentic, vulnerable. If I mess up, then we all mess up sometime, right? So the main objective, the main purpose is that I wanted to keep it real, authentic, because that's how you really feel like you are connected or supported. And this is one of the main reasons why I started this channel, is because I want you to feel supported. I want you to feel like you have someone there that's like, yeah, you can do it, that's motivating you, that's like pushing you, that when you feel like giving up, when you feel like throwing in the towel and walking away from your dreams, your aspirations, from leveling up in your life, that you'll say, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay in the process. I'm going to stay in the game. And this is what this is all about. So, again, I welcome you. And I'm so excited for you to be here. I am really encouraged by just being able to sit here and to really do this type of work, because I definitely feel extremely compelled and also humbled to be able to do this, to be able to sit here and encourage you as you go through your transformation. So, today, I hope you're having a good day, but today I was really thinking about just how challenging sometimes this experience can be, how difficult that this experience can be. And sometimes you don't really understand that there is a opposing force, or there is a opposition that you keep facing, and you really don't know what it is, but you feel it. And this is part of the awakening process. And there is a video titled Awakening, but this is also a part of your awakening process, that you start to see that you're getting more adversity, you're getting more pushback. It's like the more that you take one step forward, it's like something, a force, which is the adversary, the opponent, pushes you back. It's like when you're playing basketball, you know, you're trying to get to the goal and you're shuffling, you're dribbling, you're shaking them up, and then you have the defender, which is absolutely trying to keep you from making the points. And sometimes that could be the game points. It could be the points that actually wins the game. So that's why it's so vital for you to now engage in this process and stop allowing the adversary to push you back. It comes a point where you're going to say, you know what? I'm no longer going to bow down to what is opposing me. And that takes strength. That takes focus. It takes resiliency. It takes tenaciousness. It takes diligence to say, no matter what, I am going to keep on keeping on. I'm going to keep on pushing forward. I'm going to keep on moving forward, no matter what, because my healing, or your healing, this is your main mindset, is that now you have to understand that your healing has to be more important. It's like, oh, have you ever just wanted something so bad? Think about it. Let's go back in time. Let's go back to when you were a child and you know Christmas was coming up, or your birthday, or something special for you. And you was expecting to get a certain gift. So maybe you graduated from high school, or you graduated from what is it, 8th grade or elementary, whatever. You got you was an honor roll student, and you were just like, yeah, I know that I am going to get this gift no matter what. I know that my mom, my dad, whoever, my grandmother, my parents, my guardian, they're going to get this gift. They're going to give it to me. And then you just wait and wait, and you're just like, oh, this is the moment. Like, I done worked so hard. I done got through the adversity. I done, pushed through no matter what. And I've achieved this thing. I achieved the goal. I achieved it. And so now you're waiting for this gift. And when you're a child, it's like everything is blown up out of proportion. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like you really are depending on this. This is going to really change your life forever. So you're waiting on that day, and you're like, okay, yeah, I know my mom, I know my dad, I know they're not gonna let me down. I know my grandma, my mama, or my papa, who, my auntie or my cousin. Sometimes you have that person in the family that's just, no matter what you do, you're like the chosen one. You're like the one that is highly favored. And so they're going to look out for you. So they're going to say, you know what? I got you. I know that you've been working towards this goal for so long. So here you go. When you do this, when you achieve that goal, I promise you I'm going to come through for you. And you have put in your minds now, they did not commit to say, okay, you're going to get this thing or this particular gift. But in your mind, you kind of threw it out there, I really want those new Jordans, or I really want that new PlayStation, or I really want that new outfit that every little girl is wearing, or I want that car, I want that new bag, whatever it is. So you're thinking like, hey, this is what I want. So, but they never agreed to give it to you. But hey, you had in your mind that this is what you wanted, and they're not going to let you down. So at the end of the day, you get it, and it's that moment. And you just like, no, I'm about to get this. Like, yo, you are on like 1,000 right now. You're emotionally, you just hyped up. You just like feeling like you want to jump off the roof into a pool. It's like nothing can shut this day down for you. The moment that you're about to get this gift. And so here it comes. Here's the moment. Everybody's around you, your family and your friends, and they're celebrating you, they're uplifting you, they're just so proud of you. And then here comes the gift, and you're like, oh, I know they're gonna come through. I know. Oh, I know. You just so like inside. This is how you're feeling. You're feeling so energized, and you're like, I know they're gonna come through. And so the big moment comes, and you're sitting there, and you're like, here's your present. And you get the present, and you're like, I mean, okay, I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm not going to overreact if it's not what I want. So you get the gift, and you're like, this kind of feels weird, but hey, let's go. All right, let's see. Okay, then you start Xing out the things that it couldn't be, that it's not, that you actually wish that it was. And so you're just going through like, okay, well, no, it ain't that. Okay, so this is what you're thinking. So you're really not focused on the gift because you're so focused on what you did not get. And so when you're looking at this gift and you're like, and you can't wait any longer. So you start ripping it apart, tearing it apart. You're not even looking at how beautifully wrapped it is. You're not even looking at the ribbon and the outer, like how beautiful it is on the outward appearance. You didn't even give yourself time to even just look at how beautiful it was, just how gorgeously, intricately wrapped it was. So you just tearing it up. Woo! Let me get in there. Let me get it up. And then you're at the moment where it's a box. And so you rip out the box and you look in and you look up and you're like confused. And everyone's just looking at you. Like, what is it? What is it? What is it? Come on, come on, come on. And then that person who gave you the gift is just sitting there quietly with their hands kind of like folded and just observing you. And you look back down in the box and it's empty. And it just feel like your whole life has been just ended. You just feel like everything is just coming crashing down because now everything that you hoped for in this one special moment didn't happen. And you're thinking to yourself, like, how is this possible? Like I knew that I knew they were gonna come through for me. I knew they were going to give me something that I wanted, but I wasn't expecting an empty box. And you're just staring there looking at this. And it seems like time is standing still around you. And you're wondering, how could this happen? Like, what happened? Like, how could they not know that this was my moment? Like, this was the moment that I had been working so hard for this. I've been working so hard for this. And why did I not get what I just deeply desired? Why is the gift? I didn't even get anything. Like, how could this happen? That I did not get not one thing that I wanted. And then on top of that, it's nothing in the box. So now, at this very definitive moment, the room is silent. And they're all looking at you like, come on now. And the person who gave you the gift that's sitting on the side of the room, you look at them and you have this puzzled look in your eyes. that is like, now you start to feel a little funny. Your nerves start to kind of get a little shaky, and you don't want to embarrass anyone. You don't want to embarrass your favorite auntie or uncle or mother, the one that favors you the most. You don't want to let them see your disappointment in the empty box and no gift, and not even that the gift that you really desired. But worse, it's empty. So you're sitting there, you look back down in the box. And at this moment, it's like the tears. You're trying to be strong. It's like, well, you really want to suck back the tears. You know how now you're kind of reverting back to that 3-year-old little boy or that 3-year-old little girl that felt so unimportant, that felt so violated. And this one moment should have been the pivotal moment in your life where it's like a triumphant moment has now turned into like the worst moment of your life so far. And everybody's just sitting there puzzled, looking at you. And in your mind, you're thinking, like, I feel so bad. And you're going back to that moment when you was a child. And for some reason, you're not thinking why. You just immediately, it just takes you back to that disappointment, to that hurt, or to that pain, to that place in your life where you felt so lonely, where you felt so unimportant, where you felt so minute, where you felt so insignificant. And you look back, you're just sitting there and you're sucking back the tears. You're doing everything within you to just suck back those tears. And you're trying to be strong. You're trying to be so strong. But then at that moment, you're looking now on the opposite direction. And there's a window there. And you really don't want to have an embarrassing moment that brings you back to that broken little child, that brings you back to that devastating little girl or that devastating little boy when someone had completely done something that was absolutely traumatizing for you. But this moment here is starting to transform into an embarrassing moment that brings you back to that shameful time when you felt so little. And you look back in the box, and at this point, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to think. You don't know if you should move away from the box. Should you just throw the box down? Should you just lift it up and say nothing's in it? But this is a defining moment for you. And it's deeper than just an empty box. This moment here is trying to get your attention. And you're being triggered emotionally back to this little girl, this little boy. When you saw your dad walk out, when you saw your mom suffering from this mental illness, when you saw your grandmother, you had to go to your grandmother, your grandpa's funeral, and you still ain't completely healed from that because you love them so much. This little embarrassing moment is now taking you back to the moments where you were teased and bullied because you were different or you looked different. You were teased because of your race or your color, or you were just a little different little child and you were so innocent. You was a little off, or they called you weird or nerd or all these things. Is one moment. It just triggered something that is now you're losing sight of the time, and Now everybody's in the room is looking at you and saying, what's wrong? And their attention, you can feel it being drawn to you. You're saying, I don't want to talk about this. This is what you're thinking to yourself. Like, I don't know what to do. This is so bad. Like, why? Why would they do this to me? Why would she do this to me? Why would the person that I love so much, why would they give me an empty present? Like, what is this all about? And so you raise up your head, and now the eyes are really on you. And at this point, the tears just start welling down your face. And now you're crying like a baby. You're crying like that little girl, like that little boy, as I described earlier. You're crying and you can't stop. And now your tears are like confusing everyone else because they're trying to figure out like what's going on. And so the person that you were depending on so much, the person that you were depending on so much is now just watching you. You could feel their eyes just gazing at you to see how you're going to respond to this moment. And this is exactly the test that many of you are in right now. Is that the person that is watching you is in this scene, the person that is watching you, that gave you the gift, that person you depended on so much, that you knew they weren't going to let you down. That person that you put all your trust into in this very defining moment in your life is a metaphor of how God, the infinite one, the creator of the heavens and the earth, is watching you, is observing you in these very defining moments. These are character moments. These are moments that you will never forget. But as that person that you really trust, it's now you're looking at them as if they let you down. Like, how could you do this to me? How could you let me down? How could you not give me what I wanted? Or give me something? And you're wondering, how could this happen? Like, what went wrong? And you're just crying now. And everyone that's watching, they're sitting there wondering, oh my gosh, like, should we come up there? Should we just sit here and see what happens? And then you start hearing some kind of weird sounds, and some people are sniffling with you, and tears are running down their face, and you have your haters over there. They're kind of snickering and, mocking you. And you're thinking at this moment, this defining moment, I blew it. I blew it. Why did I respond this way? Why did I allow myself to feel so insignificant? Why did this one little moment make me feel so unimportant? And the reason is because of what I mentioned previously in the story, is that person, that little boy, that little girl that you were years ago when you were little, that little boy, that little girl didn't heal. They didn't heal that trauma. They didn't heal those moments where they were really torn and violated or abused. So now that you're older, or in this story, that now this character is older, and they're thinking in their minds like, I'm so embarrassed. Because where did I go? Where did I go wrong? And the person that is observing this, that's standing on the side, is symbolic of God. And then God is just sitting there looking and saying, what are you going to do? How are you going to address this? And you're wondering to yourself, like, I don't know. And so what do you decide to do is, what you decide to do is, out of anger, you threw the box up in the air and you stormed out of the room. And now everyone is gasping. Like, wow, what happened? What's wrong with them? Oh my gosh. You hear the snickering and the whispering in the back. As you race out of the room, you slam the door. And now everyone is looking. Why are you behaving this way? It was just an empty box. And so now, the person that gave you the box that you depended on to come through for you, they're just standing there observing and thinking, wow, I never thought that they would react that way. I never thought that they would react in this manner, because they didn't even allow themselves to see what was on the other side of the door. And so now at this definitive moment, God is watching and seeing how your anger, your frustration, your disappointment has gotten the best of you. And now you're kind of placed in the hands of the enemy. And this is where the adversary comes in. And you're sitting there, you're in a dark room. And in this moment, you feel a presence enter in. And you know that this is darker. This is different. This is not the light. And so as you sit there and you crying, you're wailing, and the wails are just coming up out of you, because now you not only feel disappointed, but you feel embarrassed. Not only do you feel that little boy, that little girl that was let down when she was a little girl, a little boy, when those events where your trauma happens, but now it's just welling up. All of these emotions, all of these negative emotions that is coming out, because now you feel like you've been set up. You feel like someone or something has orchestrated this whole entire event to make you look bad. And all you can do is cry, wail. And as you're there in that very vulnerable moment, you feel so alone. You feel so abandoned by those that were supposed to support you and love you and comfort you. And now you feel so broken, because how could they let you down in this nature? How could the person that you were dependent on so much for this defining moment, how could they let you down? And as you sit there, you feel this presence that's brewing, this presence that was there when you were molested, that presence that was there when you were assaulted, that presence that was there when you were lied about and mocked and beat and abandoned and felt so insignificant and so alone. Now this presence, you're feeling this darkness around you. And you're thinking at this moment, this character is thinking at this moment, what should I do? What should I do at this time? In this time? And this is subconscious because right now they're in this state of confusion and frustration. And as this presence engulfs them, they begin to see they're not alone. They begin to feel they're not alone. And so this is where you meet the adversary. And the adversary is now coming for you. All those times where you felt isolated, abandoned, disappointed, talked about, ridiculed, hurt, the agony, the torment, the pain. Now you're feeling the presence. And you know that this presence is different. You never quite felt this before. This is different from when you were in your most vulnerable state as a child. This presence here, it's like it done transformed into something much darker. And you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, what is this? What is this feeling? And you're trying to shake it off. So you stand up and you say, I'm not going to cry no more. I'm going to make them cry. I'm not crying no more. I'm going to make them cry. And now you're trying to see, what is this? Is this coming from this presence that I'm feeling? This darker presence? Or is this coming from me? That now I'm standing up for myself. And as you sit there and you wonder, you sit back down. So now you're like, oh, you got your hands over your head and you're kind of rocking. And now you can feel the presence of this adversary, this darker presence. And now it's starting to really taunt you and say, why are you allowing these people to do this to you? Why are you allowing this to happen? Why are you not standing up for yourself? Why don't you go in there and do something? And you're thinking. And then there's on the other side, it's like you're hearing that voice of comfort. That voice that when you were abandoned as a child, that voice when you were traumatized as a child, that voice when you went through some of the most painful experience in your life. And now you start to hear that other voice and says, don't listen. Don't do it. You're going to get through this. It don't matter what they say. You're going to be okay. This is just for a moment. If you just go back in there and tell them you're sorry, it's going to be okay. They're going to forgive you. Forget those people that was mocking and laughing at you. Who cares what they say or what they think? And now the battle is on. And so now you're sitting there and now time is kind of winding down and people on the outside, they're sitting there, they're waiting for you to come back and address them. because they're confused. You've abandoned them. And as you sit there, you're wondering, like, I'm so angry. I'm so mad. Like, why would this happen to me? Every time I try to do something good, this happens to me. Why can't I just get a win? Why can't I just get this time, this moment in my life? Why can't I just get through my life the way that I want to? Why is every time I try to elevate or something good happens, always something bad? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of whatever this is. I'm tired of this adversary. I don't know what this is, but I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling in this manner. I'm tired of feeling defeated. I'm tired of this evil presence that seems like I can't quite escape. I'm tired of being in this state. And as you sit there, the battle seems so fierce because this is a definitive moment where you can really let the anger get the best of you, and the pain of the past and the trauma of the past. This is a definitive moment where you can say, am I going to go back in there and apologize and say I'm sorry? Am I going to listen to the good voice? Or am I going to listen to this darker voice that's telling me that you're no longer going to be a victim anymore? You're about to stand up for yourself. You're about to show them. You're about to prove yourself. I'm going to make them hurt. Won't you go back in there and make them hurt how they make you hurt while they sitting there laughing at you? And now time is winding down. Now you're down to about 10 minutes in this darkened room, and you're trying to figure this out at this moment. Where am I going to allow my emotions to get the best of me? Am I going to go in there and tear up the place? And this is now this voice is trying to just trying to penetrate the darkness. This voice is trying to penetrate the darkness that has engulfed you since you was a child. That has engulfed you since he came in and did those horrendous things to you, and you don't want to speak about it. And this voice is trying to penetrate the precipice of your human being, and the precipice of your who you are, the actual existence of who you are. This voice is trying to penetrate the pain of daddy leaving and the father wounds, and his voice is trying to penetrate the pain and the agony of feeling abandoned by your mom, feeling insignificant, feeling the abuse of your home and your family. At this moment, this voice is trying to penetrate your soul. And so you're sitting there, and all you want to do is stand up and rage. That's what you're feeling. That's what the voice is coming through. Raise up. Fight for yourself. Go in there and tell them something. Let them know that you're not a wimp. You're not stupid. And you're sitting there, you're rocking. And now the tears are falling down, but this time these tears are not of disappointment or these tears are tears of anger. These are not tears of embarrassment. They're tears of anger and rage. And so now you feel that voice, that darker voice, the adversary, the voice of the adversary. Now you hear that rising up, taking control. And you're thinking, It's like at that moment, the adversary steps in. So you snatch the door open, you run out into the room, and you're thinking, I'm going to tell them something. I'm about to hurt them. But they're innocent. The God voice is still there. They're innocent. They didn't do this. Don't do this. Stop. You don't want them to hurt the way you hurt. What they did to you was wrong, but you don't want to go in there and do something worse and embarrass yourself more and cause pain upon them because you're in pain. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. And the good voice just goes away. And now you're standing there in rage. And the adversary is standing there with you. And at that moment, the person that you looked up to the most, that is symbolic of God, you're looking at them and you look back at the corner and you see the disappointment in their eyes. And you see the tears falling down their face. And you see their disappointment. They had so much faith in you. They don't even know who this person is. And you look and your eyes at this point are just bloodshot red. And everybody in the room gasps back and they're kind of feeling very uncomfortable because now the atmosphere in the room has shifted. The atmosphere in the room has shifted and now it's just you and God. And you stand there and you look at their face. And now they're shaking their heads in utter disappointment in you. How did the adversary get you? How did the adversary get into you? And so that person, they're standing there and they are looking so confused and alarmed and scared. And this person is representing God. Now the voice of God comes back. And as you listen to their eyes, you're looking into the eyes of this person. The person that loved you and cared for you and had so much hope. You were the one that was supposed to do greatness, and you were the one that everybody in the family that was looking up to you to be great. And they knew that you had something special and God had his hands on your life and now you're looking at their face and you see them. And the tears are just falling down their face. The tears are falling down because this disappointment hit differently. This disappointment broke. This disappointment broke their consciousness of who they believed you were. And as you stand there enraged, You're giving yourself over to the adversary. And now you're thinking, you let your head down. You no longer are enraged, but now you're so embarrassed. And you're so hurt. Because you still have the light in you. You still have that light in you, and then your minds just start to take you back on everything you've done wrong. And no matter what you did wrong, that person that was over there in your corner, you never did any wrong in their eyes. You were the epitome of who they wanted to be. You were the epitome of who they thought you were. You were the epitome of who they was raising you to be, supporting you to be. They represented God in your life. Not that they were God, they represented God in your life. Because they are the ones that kept the standard high. They are the ones that pushed you and inspired you and put everything into you, because you were the one. You were the one that they knew God had their hands on your life. And so now you're sitting there thinking of all the times that you've done wrong, all the times you made the wrong decision, all the times you didn't go in the right direction, all the times you gave in to the voice of the adversary, all the times when you said that you weren't going to do it again, because you knew that that person, if they knew what you did, they would be so disappointed in you. That it would tear and rip their hearts out. It would rip their souls apart if they know or if they knew what you really did. So you're standing there in that definitive moment. This is a defining moment in your life. And you're standing there thinking, am I going to give in to this adversary that's been after my life since I was a child? Am I going to give in to this person that keep pulling me backwards when I say, no, I'm ready to get married? This person that keeps pulling me backwards when I'm trying to better my life and take care of myself, but somebody just keeps pulling me backwards. Someone is being used by the adversary. So now you're at this moment. This is a definitive, defining moment in your life for you to decide who are you going to choose. Because now it's going to dawn on you. This was a trap. I was trapped by this adversary that used my childhood trauma, that used those traumatic events. Every time somebody told me that I wasn't going to be nothing, every time somebody mocked and laughed at me, this was all orchestrated by the adversary. And then as I got older, I just kept giving in to their voice. That every time the light tried to pull you to the right, to make the right decision, to make the right choice, that adversary, the evil one, comes and tries to pull you to the left, to make the wrong choice, to manipulate you, to coerce you, to hinder you, to block you, to frustrate you, to stagnate you from going towards what you know is right. And now they're looking at you being tired. You have a whole audience now. You feel so exposed because there's nowhere to hide at this point. And so now you're looking up and your eyes are closed because you don't want to see what you have created. You're trying to hide. You're trying to run. You cannot bear the pain of making another wrong decision. And you open your eyes and you look again. And you just tilt your head back and you shake your head. You place your hand over your mouth because now your lip is tremoring. This time, it's not of rage, but it's of sorrow. This time, it's of sorrow. You shake your head. You can't believe that you allowed the adversary to get you again. You can't believe that you let the adversary get you again, to pull you into a lower vibration, to pull you into a lower level of consciousness again. You lost the battle again. And then you hear the voice again, that little light voice. It starts to whisper, it's going to be okay. You got to make it right. You can't continue like this. It's time to make a change. It's time to choose what is right. Don't block me out. Don't shut the door again to me. That voice is so small. But that voice you've heard in that person that's now, they want to walk away from you because you've disappointed them, but they can't because they believed in you so much. They believed in your potential despite your faults and your shortcomings and your bad decisions. That person, they're standing there that you always looked up to. They believed in you so much. The person that represents God in your life, and you're looking at them. They represent God in the physical realm. And you're saying, I can't disappoint them again. Like they're not going to survive this if I disappoint them again. So now the room is really silent. That it's been about 15 minutes now done passed and the room is silent. You can hear the air conditioning run, or you can hear the unit running. That's how quiet the room is. The AC unit, you could hear it running in the background. It's so quiet. And you're standing there at this defining moment that seems so minute, that seems so small, that seems so insignificant, that seems so minute. But this is a defining moment for you. That are you going to choose the adversary again? Are you going to choose that lower level, that lower vibration of consciousness that keeps pulling you towards the wrong thing? Are you going to choose that voice that has caused you, that has pulled you astray every time you try to make the right decision, every time you try to do right in your life, every time you try to move toward the light, every time you try to move away from the darkness, every time you try to make that person proud of you? but it's like you keep missing the mark. Who are you going to choose? At this moment, who should you choose? Is the emotional state of the trauma is going to keep you at this broken state? Or at this moment, you're going to look that person in the eye that has been there for you, that has supported you through thick and thin, who have believed in you. And every time you do wrong, this is the person you think about. Every time you make the wrong decision, this is the person you think about. Every time you work, you operate from a sense of impulsivity and make the wrong decision. This is the person. This is the person you think about. This person represents God in your life. So now you're at a crossroad. Who are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the adversary? Or are you going to choose God? Are you going to choose the adversary? Or you're going to choose God? So now you stand up. You go back in front of the line. You go back in front of your guest. You go back and stand in front of them. And you say one word. Despite the embarrassment, you say these very significant words. Despite the embarrassment, despite how you just disappointed the person that has been watching you and hoping and wishing and praying for you and believing in you, the person that you have disappointed time and time and time again, they're watching you. This is the person that you care about the most. You don't care about everybody else. And you're standing there and you look them in the eye. You turn. And now the tears are falling. These are tears of repentance. These are tears of regret. These are tears of learning the lesson. These are tears of I'm sorry. And you turn and you look them in the face. And they're looking at you. And at this point, they can't speak. They can't say a word. They're so full of emotions right now because they can't believe this is you. They can't believe that you reacted in this way. They can't believe that despite everything you've done and how they continue to support you every time you've done wrong, and you look them in the eye and the tears are rolling down your face and you say, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for behaving in this manner. I'm sorry for letting you down. I'm so sorry. And you turn and you look to the guests and you just say, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have acted that way. I allowed my emotions to get the best of me. I'm so sorry. And I will never do this again. I'm going to stand up and do what is right. From this day forth, no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how challenging it is, I'm going to push through. I'm going to do what is right. I have learned my lesson. So now everyone in the room is shocked and appalled. There's people, half of the room is crying. The other half, the non-supporters, the fakers, the frenemies, they're looking very shocked. And so at this very moment, the person that's sitting on the side that represents God in the story, but is that person that loves you so much. No matter what you've done, they always loved you. This person that represents God runs over and grabs you and hugs you. And they embrace you with a hug of healing. They embrace you with a hug of restoration. Because no matter what, they knew you was going to do right. They knew you was going to pull through. They knew eventually you was going to get it. And you hug them. And the tears are falling down both of your faces. And you whisper, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And then the adversary leaves, exits the room for this moment. So there becomes a time at the end of this story that you have to choose. There comes a time where there is a choice that must be made. And there is a continuous choice that must be made every single moment, every single day, to choose the light, to choose what is right, despite the emotional agony. Are you going to continue to choose God? Or will you continue to choose the adversary that's only has one assignment: to destroy your destiny and your life, to destroy the beauty within you that has not quite developed, that has not quite come to the life, that has not quite tapped into their true potential. There comes a time where you have to choose good over evil. There's a time when you have to choose good over evil. There's a time when you have to choose good over evil. And the more that you make decisions toward the light, the easier it becomes to choose what is right. The more you make the decision to go towards the light, the easier it becomes to choose life. So you're at a crossroads in your life. You're at a very significant aspect of your journey. And you're trying to determine, is it worth it? Is it worth it to keep going in the trajectory that I'm going of running away from my pain and my past? Or am I going to face God and choose what is right? Am I going to choose life? Or will I continue to make choices towards the adversary that always causes so much adversity on so many levels? There comes a time where you have to choose life. There comes a time when you have to choose God. And so you're standing there and you release them from the embrace and you take the gift and you look inside of it and you think to yourself, I'm going to receive this gift. I'm going to receive this gift of life because rebirth, it is a gift.